So today I'm going to tell you 6 ways to sell books with no money. And these are ways I use to sell my books. And if you'll stick around to the end of the video, we got to massage that algorithm. I'll give you a 7th bonus tip that really could be number 1. It's freaking brilliant. All right, here we go. The first way to sell books with no money is through libraries. I don't understand why every author is not approaching libraries to sell their books. Libraries love meeting new authors. They love hearing about new books. Quality books, by the way. They're not interested in books that are sort of thrown together. But if your book has been beautifully crafted, it has a great cover, it's been professionally edited, libraries may consider stocking your book. I've contacted thousands of libraries across the country and some in the UK. And I will tell you that I've had a great experience working with libraries. Some of them will buy a paperback and a hardcover. Some of them will buy a couple of paperbacks to have on the shelf. Some of them will buy a copy for the library, a copy for the bookmobile. Yes, bookmobiles are back. And a copy for their Friends of the Library sale, which helps them to raise money. So targeting libraries is really, really powerful. Now, obviously, there are 14,000 libraries in the United States. You cannot call them all. So you're going to need a list. And if you would like to have access to that list, please just drop me a comment and I'll tell you how you can get your hands on lists for any state that you want. So libraries generally are looking for what I call a one sheet. It's super simple. It just tells the library what the book is, a short synopsis of the book, a photo of the book, and the ISBN number. Now, this ISBN number needs to be a commercial ISBN, not the free one that Amazon gives you or that anyone else, by the way, tries to sell you for cheap. An ISBN should only be purchased from Bowker or identifiers.com. And I'll drop that link in the description as well. But please definitely have a commercial ISBN on every version of your book. So your paperback needs its own ISBN, your hardcover needs its own ISBN as well. But libraries are a great way. If you can send out a mass one sheet to 5,000 libraries, you could have hundreds of sales by the end of the week. So now on to number 2. And before I tell you about number 2, I really want to make sure that you understand that writing a book is a business. It's not a hobby or, a legacy or a lifelong dream. If you're trying to write a commercial book, now some people write a book, they'll write their memoir just so their family will know their life story. That's perfectly fine. But if you want people to purchase your book, then you've got to think about your book like a business. So number 2 is going live in the bookstore. Again, this is another way to sell lots of books on a single day in a live bookstore. There are bookstores in your community, particularly Barnes & Noble, where they will allow authors to come in, set up a table, meet and greet customers, and actually sell books in store. Now, Barnes & Noble is a little different because it isn't really just the store manager who makes that decision. It's the manager over the region, the CRM is what they call them. So the way to get into the Barnes & Noble is super simple. Pick up the phone and call your local Barnes & Noble. And I would call any Barnes & Noble within your area or in the neighboring states if it's close enough for you to drive to, and talk to the manager and explain that you have a book that you would like for them to carry and you would love to do a book event in their store. They're going to give you the email address for the CRM for their store. Contact that CRM via email. Explain, just as you did with the library, you're going to send them that one sheet that's going to explain everything they need to know about your book and propose to do an event in the store. especially if the manager is enthusiastic about you coming in and doing an event. Give that information to the CRM. They will order copies themselves. Now, Barnes & Noble likes to order from Barnes & Noble. I do recommend that you open a Barnes & Noble press account. It's press.barnesandnoble.com and upload your book there, free, no cost, right? Once your book is cleared through Barnes & Noble Press, you have a better chance of Barnes & Noble purchasing the book for that particular store that you're interested in. What's great is if you can come into the store and do an event and they can sell many copies, they're far more likely to buy even more copies and stock them on the shelf, or even put your book in a feature position. Maybe they have a section for local authors, a little round table for local authors, just like they have bestsellers and all the cookbooks and all the travel books. They sometimes have a table for local authors, and they can put your book in that location. Number 3, fairs and flea markets. Guys, what's going on? Why aren't you all at more fairs and flea markets? I understand that I said I'm going to give you 0 cost ways to market your book, and you're probably thinking, well, if I go to a fair or flea market, there's a cost. I've been to many fairs, many flea markets. I've never paid a fee. If a fair or flea market is asking for a fee, I just don't go. Because for everyone that's wanting to charge $175 for a table or $55 for a table, there's 2 others that are saying, please just come. I go to a lot of these fairs and flea markets where I'm the only author, or I'm one of 2 or 3 authors at the event. And the reason for that is because authors just aren't doing enough of this. There'll be a jewelry person, there'll be a cake person, there'll be a nail person, there'll be all these different entrepreneurs there, but where are the authors? And the last one I went to, I was technically the only author there because the other book table was someone selling used books, used bestsellers. So I was the only actual author there, and I almost sold out. People purchased one of my books and then came back and scooped up a copy of everything I had in my inventory. And so I love going to these events because you walk away, with a lot of new fans and people purchasing tons and tons of books in one sitting. Number 4, I can't take credit for this one. I have to credit another mogul mama who tipped me off to this. But I always contact book clubs in my local library to see if one of my books would be right for their book club. But it never occurred to me to contact online book clubs. And so I want to give credit to Nazia at Ink Your Legacy, because this was her great idea to contact these online book clubs. So here's how it goes. You contact the organizer, the administrator of the online book club. You can usually find them on Facebook, but keep your search wide. Don't just restrict yourself to Facebook. Just do a Google search for online book clubs. And then tell them about your book and offer to be available. Offer to provide sort of a guide. Like, they usually will read the book for about 4 weeks, right? Offer to provide them with a 4-week guide, maybe some questions to ask at the end of each chunk of readings, or, discussion starters, I guess we'll call them. And then offer to be present yourself virtually. So you'll jump on a Zoom with the entire club at the end of their reading experience and call it an Ask Me Anything. They can ask you questions about your characters or about your writing process or anything they want to ask you about. It's so much fun. It really does heighten the experience for the people who are in the book club, but you're going to sell a book to every person in that club. And sometimes these clubs are, 8, 10 people. Sometimes these clubs are 20, 30, 40, 50 people. They're all going to be buying a copy of your book.
The Midnight Hour, a spiritually strategic hour where chains break, doors open, and divine intervention is released. Are you ready for more than routine devotion? Midnight Warfare Command is a powerful prayer manual built on biblical authority. 365 days of prayers rooted in Scripture to help you confront spiritual resistance, overcome delay, and enforce victory in every area of your life, your family, your destiny, your faith. This is not passive devotion. This is spiritual warfare. Strengthen your prayer life, sharpen your focus, build confidence in God's word, pray with clarity, authority, and expectation. Learn to contend spiritually and persist in faith until breakthroughs manifest. Midnight Warfare Command, your companion for intentional prayer and spiritual victory. Get your copy now.
All right, so sit down, buckle in, stay with me here. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't freak out. The next way to sell books for no money is to give them away. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but if you know someone who is a mover and a shaker, it makes sense to give the book to them. I had one of my mogul mamas do this. She gave her book away to CEOs all around the country. Why? Because if the CEO likes the book, that person is far more likely to recommend the book to the managers in his or her company. And so, yeah, was it an upfront investment technically? Well, yes, but we all have copies of our books sitting around, don't we? You know, even me who sells a lot of books, I still find boxes of books that I purchased. Don't even remember when I did it. Give those books away. Believe me, if you can give your book to someone who has influence, you can make up the cost of that many times over. I have a friend who's actually now one of my mogul mamas. She's actually part of our community. She has purchased every book I've ever written. She is a super fan. She doesn't waste a moment. She immediately goes out and purchases the book when it is released, but she tells everybody she knows about a book that I wrote and that she thinks they should have. And so I really do want to encourage you, if you've got books lying around, it's not going to cost you any more to, give those books away to someone who is truly an influencer in your circle. All right, number 6 is the one you were probably expecting, which is social media. But the problem with most authors and social media is that you think social media is a billboard. You think that you can put your book up there and just from seeing your book, people are going to buy. No, that's not how social media works. Social media should be seen more as a documentary than a billboard. In other words, people on social media want to know your process. They want to see you. They want to hear from you. They want you to talk about your ups, your downs, your failures, your successes. They want to follow the process with you. Well, you might be saying, well, Mogul Mama, I've already published my book, so I can't tell them about my process. Why not? You remember the process, don't you? We all do, right? Because it's hard, it's painful. And so what I want to encourage you to do is go back in time in your mind and talk them through the process. And a really great way to do this is just to put a camera on you, sitting at your computer, typing away. Just let the camera run, no audio at first. So just type away, do your thing. If you write notes, just stop, pick up your pen, write some notes. Let them see you moving about. Let them see you working. And then do a voiceover that talks about some part of your writing process. If you haven't already released your book, you are in a perfect position to document your progress. Talk about the process of coming up with a book cover. Talk about the process of trying to find an editor. Talk about your frustration with what the editor said or did with your book and all the red lines and red marks. I mean, I have authors complaining to me about that all the time, and it's hilarious. I mean, obviously I'm sympathetic because nobody wants their book chopped up, but it's really great content to listen to them talk about how they thought it was perfectly fine. And they were like, oh, shoot, I messed that up. Like, that doesn't even follow. That doesn't make sense. That's not logical. Or all of a sudden, this character was in the room that wasn't in the room for the whole scene. Now, all of a sudden, they just appear out of nowhere. These kinds of things are very, very important to the flow of your story, but they also make great fodder for your documenting of your book process. Anytime you do an event, talk about it. When your box of books arrives, do an unboxing. Let them see your emotion. Let them see your joy. Let them see your struggle. That is what social media is supposed to be. And if you drop me a comment, I will send you 100 things to post about your book, because now I'm going to get to the hard part about social media. One reason social media doesn't work for you is because you're not documenting your process. Another reason social media is not working for you is because you're not posting enough. And nobody wants to hear that. I don't want to hear it, but it is the truth. You think you need to post once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Wrong. You need to post multiple times per day. And there are very, very easy ways to do that. If you would like to know what they are, then you got to make me a comment. You got to drop me a comment, okay? I'm going to make you do some heavy lifting. So if you want to know how to post hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of social media content, please just drop me a comment and I'll tell you how I do it. Okay, so it's time for the bonus one. Do you have a lot of crap around your house? You know, a bunch of things you haven't used in the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Do you have tons and tons of clothes and electronics and knickknacks and doodads and a whole bunch of stuff that you really do need to get rid of? Have a yard sale. And you might be asking, what does that have to do with books? I sell more books at yard sales. I'll go to someone else's yard sale and ask them if I can set up a table and give them a cut, because I don't have a lot of junk. I'm a minimalist. I don't have a lot of crap in my house to sell, but I have done yard sales for myself. And I have a specialized book table. My daughter bakes some cookies and people come over, they get some cookies and they buy books. You can sell tons of books at a yard sale, and people are not bargaining you down for your book like they're bargaining you down for that old TV that you're trying to get rid of. Yard sales are great. And this is a twofold symbiotic relationship, because all that crap that's in your house that you need to get rid of at the yard sale could be money for you to invest in marketing your book. And by the way, if you want some help in some paid marketing opportunities, again, you're going to have to drop me a comment and let me know, and I will create a video about some very low cost paid options for marketing your book. Hey, that's it for me, guys. I'm Mogul Mama. I'll see you next time. Bye. Mogul Mama.
I'm a mogul mama, running this town, building empires while I'm laying it down. Diapers and deadlines, I'm